Hey guys, I'm a Dimension Jumper and today I'll be reviewing Elden Ring, which was released back in 2022. Now, this game is a Dark Souls type game in that you play as this character who has to go around fighting giant monsters and enemies, but all the enemies and bosses, or the giant bosses at least, are super duper hard, and it's well known for you just getting a lot of "you are dead" um, screens. So yeah, but the plot of this game is that you play as a character called the Tarnished, and they are in this sort of like open world called, I believe, the Land Between, and you have to find this thing called the Elden Ring, and you go along all these different places. And yeah, I think this is a really hard game in the sense that um, basically everything is out to get you, and you'll find a bunch of these different enemies, and you just have to try and find the Elden Ring. And yeah, and what I like about this game is that when you begin, you're given all of these different um, character decisions or character custom um, characters to choose from. Kind of like how Skyrim does it a bit, in the sense that with Skyrim, you can choose all these different characters, and they all have their own strengths and weaknesses, and they all have their own different unique abilities and stuff like that. And it's kind of similar with, or the same with Elden Ring, in the sense that you've got all these different classes. So you've got like a warrior, you've got a samurai, you've got a prisoner, I believe, who's like the most generic, basic guy who's like level 1 in everything. And you've got a variety of other characters. And they all have their own different levels, I believe, and their own unique skill sets. So yeah, and as you progress through the game, and when you're playing through the game, you find different weapons and find different weapons and armors and stuff you can use. And this game does not hold any punches, because because a lot of the other games that I've played are quite easy. Like you've got your Mario games, you've got your Zelda games, you've got Pokemon, and a variety of other games that I've played. In a sense, and when it comes to combat, it's like, oh, this is fairly easy. I use my sword skills or my magic skills or whatever to fight a particular enemy, and then they're defeated. But when it comes to Elden Ring, a lot of the enemies are quite tough to fight, especially if you've got like some basic enemies, and they are all in a group. And when it comes to like the group enemies, they are quite hard to fight against. But I would suggest trying getting some spells and stuff, because in the game you can get some skills or some magic skills. For example, there's this one you can get where you can summon a bunch of wolves, and they can all help attack the enemies, and they all have their own health bars and stuff like that. And it's a really good way of just helping you out a bit, especially if it comes to like really hard boss fights and stuff like that. And some of the boss fights that I've done, like this one I had to fight, it's like this like guy with like these blades, and if you get hit by them, you'll be given more damage by the blades and stuff like that. And then you've got like some of the giant enemies, like this early boss where you have to like, it's very hard to try and fight because you're on this like plank way, or not a plank way, but this like bridge type section, and there are no walls to help you on either side. The only walls are like the gates that are both behind you and in front of you, and those are the only kind of protection things that will help you just not fly off. And that fight, it took me a very long time, because because with the controls and the way you fight in the game, it's very different to something like Skyrim. With Skyrim, it's just, oh, I can just shield, I can just block, I can use my shouts, I can use magic, and I can use my sword, my bow, whatever. But with Elden Ring, I had to like basically just um, get to adapt with this whole new control scheme and how to fight and stuff like that. So like, for example, the dodge button, I kept on forgetting. I kept on forgetting, like especially early on, which one it was, and I just keep on like I kept on like either attacking or just dodging when I would get hit by an enemy, that sort of thing. And yeah, it's one of those games where I have to really think about how I would use the controls and when I would try and attack or dodge or heal or whatever. So yeah. And now it's time for some gameplay. So to begin with, the overworld is quite big. It's quite a big overworld, and I do like how some of the areas are different, or in terms of like how they're structured. So like, for example, this area is more of a it's basically a castle area. This part, or this massive part here, is more foresty type areas, and this bit over here is more of a it's a fiery area, and this part area is more of a swamp based area. I haven't really got that part of the map yet, and I think each location is quite unique. It means like you can find a variety of enemies in certain areas, and you can also find a site of grace, and you can use this to pass time, level up, and do a variety of other things. So level up is quite unique. I do like how you can find different runes and stuff you can collect, and there's one bit in terms of if you want to have a certain amount of leveling up, you have to have a certain amount of runes, graces, stuff. So, and each time you level up, you need more and more of that same stuff. So you can't have. So right now I can't really level up. I can't really do anything else right now. But when it comes to stuff like Elden Ring, so like Skyrim, some parts of some of the new God of War games, so God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, you can level up your magic, your health, that sort of thing. But you can also upgrade your arcane, your intelligence, your faith, strength, that sort of thing. And it kind of reminds me of some parts RPG, some parts Dungeons and Dragons in a bit of a sense, because I know with that you can upgrade, or when you level up you can have more strength and intelligence and that sort of stuff. And yeah, and hang on, when it comes to your equipment, you can have a variety of equipment, and you can also have different bits of equipment on different weapons. So right now I just have like just 2 swords, but also I can upgrade. I can either switch to a shield or to a different weapon and stuff like that. So I think that's quite cool. And yeah, and also you can crouch. That this gives you more of a sneak attack sort of thing. So, and also if you have a dual weapon on, you can do sort of like a strong attack, or just like a single attack from either of them. And now you will find some veils like this, and this will teleport you to a boss. And the bosses are quite difficult. I think they are well known for being quite difficult in Souls type games like Elden Ring, and yeah, and also if you want to, if I can find out, if I can remember, you can summon and use magic, which does deplete your magic a bit. But if I can find... but I do know you can do magic. You can summon stuff. It's definitely well since I played the game. I was mainly playing this game on and off. So yeah, it's just like doing this whole thing, talking about the game as well as trying to replay or trying to play the game. At the same time, it's kind of difficult. It's not difficult, because I can just do it like this, but when it comes to the thing, so, because I know you can do, inventory, you can summon, stuff, so yeah, these are some of the summons you can use, which are quite useful if you want to fight against certain enemies and stuff like that. So, hang on, so, yeah, so it's going to take me a while to try and, so yeah. So I think when it comes to like, I think the bosses are quite a nice challenge, because they really have to, because unlike other bosses and stuff, they really have to make you think on your feet, and and you really do have to think about how to do it, sort of stuff. So yeah, I should probably go to a different area just to show you like some of the other stuff you can do, or in terms of like how to do it and stuff like that. So yeah. So if you want to do your summons, for the PlayStation version, I think the 4 and 5 versions, you press triangle, and you'll see that now that my weapons have changed to summons. So for the left button, I can now summon my wolves, and these wolves guys can just help me fight enemies. So let's just go with these guys, and they do cost magic. So if you want to, so you will have to save on magic in terms of like if you want to use a particular spell or stuff like that. So yeah, and after fighting a particular amount of enemies, you will get more runes, so that will help you with getting like, you know, more stuff. And also, also if you do feel like you're low on HP, do heal as much stuff as much time as you can, because it will help you in the long run. And depending on how much health you and when it comes to the enemies, if any of your summons lose a certain amount of health, they will disappear. And also, there's a summon you can find, or you can get if you go to, I believe, this particular Grace. You can summon a horse, and I think it's like a goat horse thing. I'm not really 100% sure, but this summon can really help you when it comes to traversal, and you can also do combat on it, which I think is quite good, because it means you can just summon. You can just do various combat on it without having to hit the ground. And also, it's got a double jump, so I think that's quite good. And also, I forgot to say this, but if you're in the presence of enemies, your stamina won't go down. But if you do engage with enemies, your stamina will go down. So yeah, I think that's been kind of it for the gameplay. Now I'm going to go back to the review. So, one of the things that I do like about Elden Ring is that the more enemies you defeat and fight against, the more graces you'll get. Because depending on which enemies you fight, depends on how much graces you get. Now, the graces are kind of like the currency in this game, and they can help you either level up, so either level up just normally, or help you with the different stats, so magic, strength, endurance, that sort of thing, or help you buy different weapons and armors and stuff like that. And yeah, I think the graces are I think good because depending on which enemies you fight, you'll get some different amounts of graces. So, for example, if you're fighting one of the bosses, let's say, you might get 1,000 graces. But if you fight a normal enemy, you might get 5 graces or 50 graces or something like that. And if you die, you'll be able to see this sort of like rune on top of your compass bar, and you'll be able to see where it is, even on the map. And if you go to the rune where it is, where you last died from an enemy or whatever, you're able to get all those graces back. And yeah, I think that's a good way of getting your stuff back, because it's kind of like a good way. But I think it's just because it feels so good to try and get back your stuff and just try again. And it kind of reminds me of it's not exactly the same, but the Eventide area in Breath of the Wild, in that you're taking away all your stuff, and you have to try and fight your way and try and do the shrine quest. Then you get your stuff back. I know it's not exactly the same, but it kind of feels like that to me a bit when it comes to the whole runes stuff. You lose your stuff, and then you have to try and get them back, or try and go back to the last location where you die to can get them. And yeah, I would say overall, Elden Ring is a very difficult game. But if I won't play any other Dark Soul type games like Elden Ring again, because it's so hard, and it's like, and I think even when I try and like play the game, I think I think Elden Ring is probably is my personal limit when it comes to Dark Soul type games, because it's so hard. And yeah, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy the game. I just think I'm a bit out of my depth when it comes to Soul type games, and when it comes to some of the controls, the way that you have to dodge certain attacks, and the enemies, they can be quite difficult. But I just feel like overall, Elden Ring, it's a very fun game. I suggest people who've played other Soul type games to play it. And yeah, it's really enjoyable. I just personally think, for me, this is very difficult. It's a very difficult type game, and I probably won't play any Soul type games unless I change my mind in 10 years or so. But right now, I feel like Elden Ring is my limit for now. I'll probably play some other Soul type games in the far future, but as of right now, probably not. But yeah, I do enjoy Elden Ring, so yeah, I suggest you go and play it if you get the chance. So that's been my review for Elden Ring. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.